I grew up in a really, really tight family unit. I wanted to birth that baby, and it needed to be born now because she had 3 days and then she was going to be gone for 2 weeks.
You know, a short piece
Yes.
about the local sports event is way different from a 300-page novel that's
Yeah.
about, I don't know, a mystery or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, just curious. So, coming back to work, so you were only there for a short amount of time, and then what did you move on to?
Well, I stopped because I got a back injury that put me in bed for 3 months.
Oh.
And after that, I thought, okay, you know what? I don't want to go back to that. One, my son was older. So one of the reasons I went to Observer was I could start late. So 10 o'clock was the start time that I told them I wanted. But then I worked until 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night, depending on when the paper was.
So who got your hand?
That's it. My
sons?
sister or my dad would pick him up at the end of the day. That's why I said the support.
Yeah.
They would pick him up, take him home, bathe him, put him to bed, that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I never had to worry about that. I never had to worry that he was in bad hands or anything. I knew he was going to be taken care of. So I just got him together in the morning, and I didn't want to be moving really early.
Yeah.
Although, fortunately for me, he was an early bird, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
But he had time to, play around
Yeah.
while I got myself together. So where were we?
You had the back injury, and then you...
Right, I had the back injury, and he was older, so he was beginning to start school,
Okay.
which would be 8 o'clock start, I think 8 or 8:30. And I thought, all right, you know what, I need to go more in a schedule where it ties in with what he's doing. So that's when, after the back injury, I went to work with my dad.
Okay.
And I did that for a few months, and then elections were coming.
Yeah.
And I was campaigning for the opposition at the time. And
What did you say, campaigning in what role? Like, as in on the ballot?
no.
Oh,
no.
just
I was
actually
going
working
into
communications?
No, I was actually going into the community with the representative and
campaign for
talking to
them.
the people, and
Got you.
campaigning for them.
No, I mean, yes, but it could mean different things, right? You could mean you're in a communications office organizing. It could mean... Okay.
Sure. No,
Okay.
no. This was out on the road,
Okay.
actively being involved in the campaign.
Okay.
And I did that. Oh, that was long. That
Okay.
was a big push, because at the end of the work day, I'd be going into the country. We'd campaign until maybe about 9. Go back to St. John's, get my car, go home. Next morning, back to the grind, get my son ready for school. And I used to campaign, I think, about 3 days a week. That went on, I think, for about a year and a half. And then elections
So what's that
happened.
like? How do you find that you're interested in doing that? How do you effectively do that?
Well, that's a good question. My dad's always been involved in politics in the background. And so I think we always grew up with that. And you want to see changes, you want to see improvements, you want to see some sort of control over the country, and or to feel like you're in a country that has, some sort of control. And that's what you're working toward. So you go out, and that's what you're campaigning for. You're campaigning for these changes. That was in 2004. And when the elections happened and the UPP did win, then the person that I was campaigning for wanted me to come and work with him in the ministry, which I didn't particularly want to do, because I was quite happy staying with my dad and, learning the business again and doing that sort of thing. But he convinced me, because it had been 60 years or 50 years or whatever since we'd had a change in government, and he wanted somebody that he could depend on and blah, blah, blah. So I went.
And what was that role? And
It was his secretary to the minister, and it was How do I describe that? It felt, initially, it felt a little like the Wild Wild West.
Okay.
Because anybody and everybody could come in, and there was no control of people. And so you had to get that together.
So you had to structure it.
Yeah.
You had to, both of you were defining what this
Yeah, and
office.
the other people in the office, because it wasn't
Yeah.
just for him.
Okay.
There were two secretaries there.
Okay.
The director's secretary, the, oh boy, the PAS's secretary was there, the minister's secretary was there, and there was one other secretary.
Okay.
But you'd feel overwhelmed because people would be literally standing over you sometimes, trying to get whatever they wanted to get to see the minister or the director or the whatever. So yeah, there was some structure that had to get put in there. And it was just different. I'd never worked in the public service before.
How did that change the way you approached life?
I don't know that it changed the way I approached life so much as changed the way I approached the job.
Okay.
Because it actually, at the time, I knew people who, if you were doing business with the government, you could talk to
Okay.
about stuff. Apart from that, it didn't really have any effect on my business the way I did anything.
Okay. And so at this point, your dad is, you're not working for him. You're fully working in the
I was working full time
public
for the
service.
government, yeah.
So
Public service.
at what point did you go back to working with your dad?
I did that for 3 years.
Okay.
I said I was only going to do one.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad got very ill.
Okay.
And so I resigned, and I had to go to Canada with him to deal with his issue. And when I came back from that, I went back to my dad's business. And I've stayed there ever since.
How many years has it been now?
That's a good question. I think from probably about 2009.
Okay.
So maybe about 13 years,
Yeah.
14 years, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does it, do you mind sharing, is Johan in Antigua or is he away?
No, he's in Canada.
He's in Canada? Okay.
Yeah.
And how was that for you at the point that he grew up? Did you feel like it was just natural progression for him to go as well, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think he got a really solid foundation here, and he's told me that. He said he's very grateful having grown up here. He's made really good friendships. He used to swim for Antigua. He played football. So he got activities. He was involved in activities that he probably wouldn't have been involved with, because I just wouldn't have the time to set that up, or even the money probably to pay for that kind of thing. He always said he wanted to go away to school.
Mm-hmm.
He's also said he's going to come back. Who knows? You know, things change. But it did feel like a natural progression.
Okay. And so were you as easy about letting him go as your family were before you, or was that really hard for you?
No, it was easy. It was easy. So one of the things, there are a few gems that I've received over the years.
Okay.
My doctor, when I had Johan, he looked at me and he said, babies are very forgiving. Whatever you do, they'll forget. So it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you don't injure them or kill them deliberately, be good. They're good. They'll forget.
It's true.
That's true.
That's true.
That definitely is true. And as he grew, most of the people I knew had girls. I had a boy. And I had to keep telling myself, I have a boy. I can't deal with my boy like they deal with little girls. He's just not interested in that. And I had a boy, a man's boy. So, you know, I just always had to be aware that this person eventually will become a man. He will be responsible for a family. And so my thinking all along was, I'm raising a man. I'm not raising a boy, which sounds kind of weird.
No, I get what you mean.
But I think at
No,
this
it's true,
point
but it
it's
affects
true.
everything, right? It might be
Yeah.
a simple thing like it's a big discussion in somewhere like Jamaica, which has a lot of mother-only single families, right? And you get, just anecdotally, right? You get this thing where sometimes they think of them as little boys, or I'm your mom, so I always do this thing for you, as opposed to I am raising you to at some point, you know, maybe lead a family or be independent, like wash the dishes, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
it's a very small thing,
Yeah.
but a lot of times mothers just think, oh, I'll do it for him, let him sit down, whatever, and he never learns how to do it. So he
Yeah.
goes to college and can't boil rice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it happens a lot, but
That's not my son. He can cook. He cooks better than I do.
See,
he cooks
and-
for me.
and it's I guess unfortunate but very real that a lot of boys just grow up not really,
Yeah.
because the mothers just think, oh, we love them very much, let me do all these things, and you know, not just thinking, well, he's gonna be, before you know it, that's a grown man.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
no, that's a really great point.
I would have to say that one of the best compliments, it's happened twice actually. The best compliments I've received is when he's come back and told me that this female friend said, I did a good job. Your mom did a good job in raising you. I think, okay, from my perspective as a woman, I don't want a little boy.
Yeah.
And so I did a good job. I wasn't raising a little boy to deal with women.
Yeah, I
So,
love
yeah.
that. So thank you for sharing. And so you've been back, and when did knitting start happening?
Oh, I started knitting when I was in Toronto long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah. Was it
Yeah.
just you wanted a hobby, or it just seemed interesting, or you liked making things?
You know, I think what started it, so my mom, when we were in high school, got these incredibly large knitting needles, and she tried knitting for a while. It didn't stick for her. But I always thought these knitting needles were really cumbersome and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of starting with a piece of string and you wind up with a fabric.
Yeah.
It's a garment or just a blanket or whatever. I just like that idea of creating and building something
Yeah.
from practically nothing, if you will. So at the time, I was still with my son's dad, and I thought I would make him a sweater, which I did, and it fit. He
Yeah.
could get it over his head.
That's
and
major.
he used to wear it. I mean,
That's
it was
major.
fit.
First
Yeah.
garment that's wearable, that's major. I know it's major.
Yeah. So I thought, all right, I like this. But
have you been doing it since
put
then?
aside.
Oh,
No, I put it aside for the longest while. Don't ask me why. But I never considered it. And then when my dad died about 5 years ago, so up to that point, I was taking care of my son and my father because my
Okay.
mom had passed on. And then my son went away for school, so I was just taking care of my dad, working, taking care of my dad. And then my dad goes. And so I'm in the position my dad was how many ever years before. Okay, so what am I going to do with my time? How am I going to do this? And I'm not even sure where the knitting came from. I think I may have had some needles around. And I just started doing it again, and I decided, yeah, I like this as a hobby. So I invested in more needles. Believe it or not, technology does change and things
Yeah.
like that. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
changed a lot.
Ergonomics, you mean? Like how they feel?
The
or-
actual needles changed because when I started knitting, you had just straights, which were these straight needles.
But
A
they
lot of
didn't
people
have the
don't
little
use
loop thing?
No, a lot of people don't do. Now, most people will use what you call a circular, which are these two needles with a cord between it.
Okay.
And you knit on those. And so that for me was like an eye opener. I thought,
Yeah.
oh, wow, that
Yeah.
is so cool. And it makes it easier because you don't have all the weight in the one needle. You can stretch it across your lap. And,
Got you.
yeah, so it's ergonomically, it is a far easier thing to deal with.
Yeah.
So I went back to that, I invested in it, and then I'm not sure why I hit on the idea of socks. I think that was probably YouTube.
Yeah.
People were making socks,
Good
and I
old
thought,
YouTube.
yeah, my toes are always cold. When I'm in North America, always cold.
Yeah.
And so I thought, oh, I'll make me some socks.
Yeah.
So I made, I don't know, about 25 pairs of socks before I finally said, I'll hold on to a pair for me.
Yeah. I love that. I love that when you make up your gifts, you're giving them out.
Oh, I give away a lot of them.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And so, are you, as your person? Oh no, do you do anything while you knit? Listen to books, watch TV, music.
I listen to music a lot.
Okay.
Sometimes there's a program that my son put me on to called Darknet Diaries.
Oh.
And it's about, I don't know if you know anything about it.
No, but the darkness is just things that people don't do in the light.
Right. So this guy interviews people who, some of them are hackers, some of them are security people, some of them, he interviews a lot of very different people and their stories behind it, because my son is now doing cybersecurity stuff.
So
up
my
in,
husband
yeah.
That's awesome.
So he listens to this show, and I just find it fascinating the way people. I'd make a terrible crook.
Yeah, because
I
you're
just don't
thinking,
think
why
like
would
that.
you? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it really is a different way of thinking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I just wasn't raised thinking like that.
Yeah.
And my son is far more streetwise than I was. I think children today have to be far more streetwise.
You have to.
Because they just come into a lot more things that come in contact with a lot more things that we wouldn't have, or I wouldn't have at any rate.
Yeah. 100%.
So yeah.
So you're listening to that podcast.
I listen to Darknet Diaries.
Yeah.
I do listen to music. I like Trinidad music.
Yeah?
I like soca, I like calypso.
I
I'm
love that.
not crazy about the reggae and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I much prefer the stuff.
I'll
from
try
the
not to
south.
be offended. That's fine. It's fine. Trinidadian music is good. No, really, it's good. No, but I love that because it's the kind of thing I love audiobooks. For example,
Yeah.
I like books, and my lifestyle isn't such that, especially when you're engaged with your hands, you can't sit and flip. So,
Yeah.
But I love that you're, almost having two hobbies at the same time.
You know, I tried listening to audiobook because I'm a reader.
Yeah.
I'm a reader,
Yeah.
and I raised my son to be a reader, so he's a reader. But I can't listen to audiobooks
Yeah,
like
I've
that.
heard
I
that.
have to be focused on what's going on in the audiobook.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
And meantime, I'm at 1.5 speed and they're just yapping away.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It isn't for everyone.
Yeah.
But it's a way I can consume the book
Sure.
while I can't sit and flip. So
Yeah.
So I guess now that you're here, your parents have passed, your son is away, are you the head of the company, or is
Yeah.
there, how is that?
Sort of.
How is that?
It's a whole different headspace to be in,
Yeah.
because you are just constantly making decisions about
Yeah.
everything. So in a sense, it didn't just land on me, because I would say maybe the last 3 or 4 years of my dad's life, I'd taken over a lot of it. Although he gave the final yay or nay to things, now I don't have anybody to bounce. Well, what do you think about this? Ideas off. And that part's really tough because, it's the first time running a company. It's in a very challenging and competitive field. And, having somebody else to talk to
Yeah.
about it who's been through that would be very helpful.
Yes. And do you want to give context? You don't have to say exactly what it is, but do you want to give context for the type of industry it is?
Oh, sure. So it's I'll
Sure,
say.
go right ahead.
We are the distributors, local distributors for the Shell lubricants. And of course you have a lot of other lubricants on the market. And Shell's not known for being cheap. So you have to figure out, how to deal with that in the market. Now, granted, they're probably the lubricant with the best reputation. They've
Yeah.
definitely put the most money into their research and development. And so I understand why it's as expensive as it is to some degree. But by the same token, when I went to business school, they spoke about the best mousetrap
Yeah.
and selling the best mousetrap.
Yeah.
There's
Brandy.
a point where, you have other people selling lubricants. You're competing against them. You can't be so much more expensive than they are.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work like that.
Understood.
If a man has $10, he's looking to get under his $10.
Yes. Yes, you want something left
Yep.
back. And so do you think about, I hate to ask you, but do you think about succession? Like, do you feel like Johan would want to come back for that?
I don't think he'd want to come back for that. I don't
Okay.
think any of the younger people would want to do that.
Mm,
I'm not sure that the business can continue. I'm not sure how much longer it can continue as is.
Okay.
So we're looking for how to develop this.
yes.
What are we going to do in the future?
Is that daunting for you to be thinking about that as you're, I assume, approaching retirement, and you are clearly like able and interested in doing this, but is it something that you feel like, I can't, you don't have to answer this, like I can't wait to make these decisions and move on, or is it actually still exciting for you to think about how to change the landscape of the company so that it's more sustainable?
I think we're past that. There
Okay.
are times when you're supposed to do things. I think we're way past
Okay.
changing it to be sustainable. I
Okay.
think we have to change altogether
Okay.
to something else.
Okay.
And so we're looking at that something else. What it is, I don't know. How we're
Okay.
going to do it, I don't know. There are a lot of I don't knows in this. But it's also something that I know my sister's talking with her children about.
Okay.
And I certainly talk to Johan about. And I imagine that they'll probably do something together.
Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me if they do.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But how to make that work, because when you leave things to a group of people, it falls apart very, very
Yeah.
easily and quickly. And you can see that with properties when the old people die, and it's either not left to a specific person or it's left to everybody, it just crumbles.
Can I tell you, it's been very almost distressing for me.
Yeah.
So we went by your nieces recently, and there are two homes right across the street.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at those beautiful homes close to town, and I'm saying, why is even just to rent it? But I know what it is. It's somebody moved away, and then someone died, and then the kids don't care to come back, or they don't have. And I'm just looking at these gorgeous homes with so much land space and things
Yeah.
to do. And
Yeah.
so I know. So do you think it is that it's best for someone to just take the initiative to organize, is what you're saying? When you say,
I think so.
Okay.
So how do I see things happening in the future? I think, all right, so I have 2 properties. My sister has properties. Both of my sisters actually have properties. Maybe the way is to form a company. Those properties are under that, and you have shares. I don't know. This is what we're talking about now, but how do we make that work for us?
Yes.
Because my child's not here, her children aren't here. They both families feel very, very connected to here and would like to come and spend time here. How do we make something that makes that possible?
yeah, yeah.
How do we develop something that makes that possible?
Well, I love that you're thinking about it, because it's sort of the way how people I know in Jamaica are encouraged, write a will, because you know you don't want till the end, even if you have something in your mind and this
Yeah.
person thinks it's this and that person thinks it's that, and I'm just using that example because by you're thinking about it ahead of time, as opposed to not at all, and then it's a problem, or no one knows what your intentions are. So but I to the point
No
of
one knows how much time we have.
also that you know, but to the point of maybe it is better off that the family just maintains the holdings and they rent it, even if we don't put too much into what exactly is going on there, but as opposed to just losing it, or it becomes abandoned in 10 years or something, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially with all the work that your parents' generation did to kind of secure all of these things,
Yeah.
and you guys did.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good lesson for people who are away, or they're here but their children are away. It's to just actively, and it's hard, because it's hard to face. They're not coming back, you know, or I don't think they want to.
You know what? My dad, it took him about 2.5 years to do the will. He started it, and just slowly over time, it got finished, I think. I looked at it the other day.
Yeah.
I think 6 months before he died was when
He
he did the final sign off on that. Right now, I have a friend who, she may actually be a good person for your show too.
Yeah.
So she was born in Antigua.
Okay.
She moved when she was 5 to Scotland, grew up, worked in Scotland, in Europe, and has now decided this is her sweet spot, this is where
Yeah.
she's happiest. Moving back, she's been rooming with me for a few years and building. She's rebuilding her place and how to make that sustainable. But she's also thinking, all right, so what do I do with it?
Yeah.
When it's my time to move on
Yeah.
and leave this life, what do I do with that? So she's actively going through that process now.
Yeah.
And, you know, asking her nieces and nephews, and they don't live here. They don't have as much connection here. So, you know, it's a real thing.
It is. It's 100% is. And so we're coming to the end. I think I appreciate you being so candid and sharing some of these things. I think this is our first conversation about sort of thinking about what happens towards the end of our lives. Even though we didn't intend to get here.
Yeah.
But I do get a lot of people in this age group, and I want to have conversations for them as well. So I want to, we ask everybody for tips for repatriation. 3 tips, if you could share for people who are coming home. It doesn't have to be Antigua.
Yeah. Definitely, if you're coming back to the Caribbean, definitely don't bring that North American, it's got to happen like this. You definitely got to be flexible. And understand that things can change. Yes, you want to have electricity 24/7, 365, but hurricanes pass through, your power plant goes down for 2 weeks or a month or 6 months. We've never had it 6 months here, but I would say that's definitely one. Be flexible. 2, and this depends on the age or stage of life that you're in. If you're coming back to work, it's a whole new beginning. Be kind to yourself, because if you don't have that family support that's been there to help you with, you know, finding out about jobs and that kind of stuff, be kind to yourself, because it's not a natural thing. And having that definitely does help. If you're an older person coming back to retire, be kind to yourself.
Yes.
But at this point, have a hobby. Have a hobby. Have something to do, because there's a lot of time on your hands that you're not going to be spending at the beach.
Yes.
You're not going to be spending in the garden. There are lots of, I know in Antigua, they're like little groups where a 90-year-old friend goes and reads to the little kids and that kind of thing.
Yes.
You know, there's stuff like that to do. What's a third one? Just enjoy every day. Every day you wake up, you can be healthy, moving around, active. That's where I'm at.
Yes. Yes.
I'm at trying to be as independent and active as possible, because my son's not here.
Yes.
So what do you do?
Yes. I love that.
And eating well. I mean, start a garden.
Yes.
My sister's always on this. Start a garden, because you know what you're putting into that food.
Yes.
Just an aside here. Do you know what a glioblastoma is?
Yeah, it's a type.
Brain cancer.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine was recently, as in December, diagnosed with a glioblastoma. She was coming to Antigua at the beginning of December, booked her ticket, had the place she was going to stay, coming down to spend it. And this is a high school friend from Canada.
Okay.
Coming down, my sister was coming, we were going to have a fun time. And then she canceled because she was having a problem with her balance. And she followed up on it. She's got a glioblastoma. So I started doing a little research on it. they expect, so the life expectancy for people with glioblastoma is roughly 15 months after you've been diagnosed.
Okay.
So that's her mindset right now. But two, they're expecting worldwide for diagnoses of glioblastomas to increase by 75%.
75%?
Yes. And so the article that I was reading didn't say a lot about why, but they say environmental issues, which ties back to growing your own food. Yeah. That's really important because you can't, I mean, glioblastomas, some people get 4 years, but most of them don't.
Right.
And so...
Because the average is going to be some less and some above.
15 months.
Yeah.
That's about a year and a half. So my friend, who's now been, we went to high school get together, she worked all her life, she saved, looking forward to retirement, is trying to blow her retirement money because she doesn't think she's going to be around for it. And she says, I don't want to have worked for it and not use it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, food, eating to feed your brain, because dementias are the other things that seem to be increasing to my mind.
Yeah.
Populations are getting older, so those I think are the three things.
Okay.
Flexibility, I can't remember what the three of them are.
It was be kind to yourself.
Yeah, flexibility, be kind to yourself, and food, like eating,
take care of yourself.
To take care of yourself.
I love that. And the last thing I want to ask you is just tips you have for persons who face the challenges of life, being primary caregivers, being a single mother, seeing a lot of your loved ones pass away ahead of you. Do you have any tips for anyone for those things?
You know, I think my number one tip for everybody at this point is be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Be kind to yourself. After that, I do a lot of meditation. A lot of because there are just a lot of scary things going on, a lot of unknowns, a lot of challenges. Find a space to think about what you want to represent for you. Why you here. It's not your job. It's what? It may be to help with grandchildren or look after a parent and for right now, that may be what it is. But it changes, and that's the other thing. Accept that why you're here today is not what you're going to be here in 5 years, if you're around in 5 years. It could change because life's just always changing, constant. And that's a hard lesson, I have to say. A really, really hard lesson. But one that's important.
I don't have anything else to say. I just want to stop there. I want to thank Gillian for sharing so much, from marketing to politics to business.
Oh boy.
Just so many things. And she said she wasn't an exciting person, let me tell you. Interesting, you said, but not exciting.
Interesting, yeah. Interesting, but not exciting.
All right, fine, we'll take it. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time on Refat Stories.
Thank you.